Anthony.
Amisa.
So we're going to start with some car news, which we're trying to figure out how to do this so that way you can see us both. Here we go. So in the car news front, Audi has a lot going on. We went to Audi this week. They're going to have a 2025.5 A5, S5, and RS5. So you'll have the refresh because the 25 model doesn't have it. Audi's also going to be coming out with the Q9, which is a third row variant as a 5-seater, 6-seater, or 7-seater that's going to be competing against Mercedes and BMW. Kind of excited to see that. It's going to be in a 6-cylinder or 8-cylinder configuration, so that's also going to be nice. The R8 is coming back. That was confirmed a few days ago, as well as some other Audi news that was important. What was it? You remember what it was? Oh, the electric line. The e-tron is going to be getting almost 400-mile range, which is pretty awesome. And it's going to be starting under $70,000. So for you electric fans out there, that's a good bonus. The TRX is back. So that's going to be hopefully 2026. The Hemi is back. They are anticipating the Challenger and Charger maybe for 26. 27 is supposed to be getting a refresh. So either way, I'll be excited to see that coming back also, especially with the TRX news. I was kind of shocked that they just discontinued it, but I understand with all the administration situation, you had to do so because of the credits for the fuel. And obviously, they drink a lot of gas. But now that it's back, I'm going to be excited to see that coming back to the channel. And some other news was with Porsche and Volkswagen. They're going to be spending upward to almost $1 billion going back to the combustion engine. So they're not going to just be developing electric vehicles. They're going to be coming back to the reality of what their vehicles are. And they're also going to be making some plants in the United States. So I don't know if that's going to be a benefit or a disadvantage, because that's going to take obviously a couple of years to do anything with it. And ultimately, with that being said, it's definitely going to increase the price. BMW is number one. I like BMW. They're very great vehicles. Mercedes, like we said on the previous live stream, the S-Class is getting its refresh, so I'm going to be excited to see how that comes out. And it is going to be with a V8 and a 12-cylinder variant, which is awesome. So hopefully we'll get our hands on the Maybach. We have several reviews of Maybachs, even comparison between the two. Hey James, how are you? Good to see you as well.
Good to see you, James.
And as for Ford, nothing really too crazy. Right now, they already do combustion engine vehicles. They are supposed to have some vehicles on the lot that are a little bit inexpensive. I'm hoping to see that. The Mustang, everyone is kind of already aware of. The sales have flopped. The actual Mach-E is doing a lot better than the performance variant.
It's because of the price.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. And who else was some of the news? Toyota, nothing really changing too much with Toyota yet.
Oh, wait. The Tamarario is going to be the
Yes.
same engine.
Yeah,
It's
so
the new R8.
the new R8 is going to have the Lamborghini Tamarari engine. BMW turbo diesel are putting down some crazy power. Yes, unfortunately, we don't get it in North America. When we were in Europe a few months ago, we saw some of these diesel engines, and man, they have a lot of power underneath them. And they're awesome with MPGs as well. Hit the like button. Thank you. And but unfortunately here we don't receive them. They don't allow them. With basically when Volkswagen had their lawsuit situation that ultimately ended the diesel production more or less in the United States. But BMW for 2027 is going to have the hybrid variant. I'm interested to see how that's going to come into the United States, especially with the new administration. There is no X5M competition confirmed for 26. So I'm a little bit discouraged with that, but for 27, that is the refresh. We are going to have one of those. So they're going to have a M60 electric variant, not fully electric, like hybrid, and then just a regular M60 variant plus your base X5. Those songs look like he was mushroom headed.
It's my head.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, BMW sales down. I mean, overall, right now, I've been seeing a decline in sales in general. So, dealerships, we went to Maserati, for instance. This is a short story for you. We had a flat tire, we had a pothole. It cost us about $900 to fix the tire. When we went to the dealership, they're giving $100,000 off certain MC20s. So let me know if that's something that you think that we should even entertain, because I'm actually talking this weekend through the dealership about what we should do, because 100 grand off, that's a lot of money, right?
It's up to you.
Right, all nails are kind
All
of,
makes. He
all make-
auto-corrected it.
I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now, I mean, you can actually score a deal. This is kind of the end of the first quarter, so there's a lot of companies that are actually pushing deals out there. Interest rates still suck. Like, most of them are basically 5, 6, 7, 8 on a new car. Used car is not much different. So just kind of keep that in mind whenever you're looking. Jaguar, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the electric variant. It's a disappointment for me. Hopefully, Tata Motors changes and goes back to a combustion engine for most of their vehicles, or at least some of their vehicles.
I doubt it.
But I mean, who knows? Because the administration's changing, and a lot of the auto industry is changing their mind of what they need to do. Unfortunately, they're not listening to any of the buyers at the moment. So if you do go to dealerships and you dislike something, let them know. Maybe they can do some suggestions, because I mean, everybody's doing the same BMW screens basically. So even Hyundai, like we have the Elantra incoming, and they have that same screen 2-panel layout. I like it, but it's getting a little bit old. Even BMW bikes are yeah. Edward, I would say the BMW bikes are pretty cool. Mercedes has bikes as well, and Porsche. The Porsche ones are pretty damn expensive.
BMW's
It's crazy.
bikes are better.
Has Issa decided on a car yet? Oh, actually, to answer your question, James, about the insurance, we just found out. I was calling to see how much it is to increase my insurance on a third vehicle, and the state of Florida decided to notify my insurance, stating that Issa has a driver's license. Well, he hasn't been driving by himself, because I don't believe in that, but he's been driving with me, and my insurance said that was fine. Until March 5th, they decided to increase our insurance $370, was it? $380? So that's how much it costs for a 17-year-old male to drive in Florida. About $384, I think, is what they're charging him.
Yeah.
Broccoli head? Yeah, he just woke up. We're fasting, so he took a little nap.
Yeah.
And another note, we looked at a Lamborghini Urus. To insure that vehicle, it's $2,500 for 6 months in the state of Florida. And they said that's just an estimate, that we'd have to have pictures, we'd have to talk to their corporate team. And I said, my God, so even if we wanted to buy the dang car, would we be able to drive it? So it seems like once you start getting to higher end vehicles, it is quite difficult to get insurance with them. So if you're looking at those vehicles, just something to think about. Hey Sean, how are you? I've heard that when car manufacturers offer big discounts, that the vehicles would depreciate that. Yes. So that's another thing. And I talked to Maserati actually just a few hours ago, because like I was saying, the MC20, they're knocking 100 grand off of certain variants, and it's a convertible model. So these cars are typically 320, 350, 370. So you can get it in the twos, which is crazy. You will lose that 100 grand plus another 25 to 30% depreciation, guaranteed. So whatever they're discounting, you're going to lose that plus that discount that they're giving, especially if they're advertising it. You should buy it. You know, I'm thinking about it. It's just that depreciation is hard to eat up, and that's basically why we're back and forth with phone calls, because I said, you know, maybe you can get one in the 100 grand pricing, and it's a convertible, which is awesome. But then if I wanted to get rid of it, I can't put any miles on it. It's literally a vehicle that you can only keep in your garage. Because if you look online, there's maybe 50 of them for sale in the US, and all of them have less than 3,000 miles. With the other vehicles like Lamborghini and things of that nature, it's a lot different. We did get our hands on another RS7 Performance this week, and this one had the base wheels, which I was actually disappointed. I do say in the review a lot of different details, but I'll throw in some of those perks here, which Ultimately, it did not take the bins in the road as well. If you're going to get an RS7 Performance, it's about 130, 140 grand. Get it with some features, at least the black optic, because it changes the wheels. Those wheels were just tire happy, meaning when I was taking some of the bins, I took it on the same area that I do my BMW variants, Lexus, Subaru variants, and it was just sliding all over the place. The RSQ8 unfortunately wasn't PDI'd, which means it wasn't ready or available. So we're going to try to make an appointment and just do that car specifically because of the increase in horsepower and torque. And it's also a different drive from the 24 variant with some upgrades on the exterior. It looked awesome. Sticker price is about 150. Another thing to note is if you are looking at any RS model, especially in the state of Florida, I'm sure this is going a lot of other areas, they're starting to add 10 grand premium on these vehicles. Do not pay that at all. The new M2 is one of the best looking cars right now, in my opinion. So we are trying to do another M2. We have a few right now on the channel. Unfortunately, it's been going back and through sales. The pricing of the M2, I'm just a little bit discouraged with because it's very expensive. I mean, you can get the M240i, which is an awesome vehicle as well, and you would save about $10,000, maybe even more. I mean, that's a lot.
I don't like the M2. I mean, I like the new one. The old one looks kind of ugly.
Well, to each its own.
I mean, it's not bad, CS is all right.
Yeah, I guess.
They look exactly
if you
the
want
same.
to, yeah. Well, what car are you looking into?
I don't know.
Today was the first day he drove by himself. How was that?
Like normal, same.
Yeah, just $385 later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but with Audi, I'm actually really excited to see a lot of the changes that's implemented, especially if you are looking at their electric line now getting near 400 miles. That's pretty crazy. Tesla, obviously, everyone sees their stocks are kind of dying. And ultimately, if you're wanting to really get a good deal, you could look there and get something, which Tesla does a great job with their range and charging times. But unfortunately, nothing's been really increasing in that. So for me personally, that's why I haven't looked too much at electric vehicles, but maybe a pre-owned one only because at this point, I mean, if you can get it for like 20 grand, I mean, it might be a great everyday vehicle, especially like a Hyundai Ioniq. Some of those vehicles are pretty cool. They look really retro and pretty quick charging times. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Nothing. Just wanted to see if you're going to say anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to be going back to Porsche in a couple weeks. This week, we're going to be going to Cadillac. Hopefully, they said that they have the CT4V Blackwing and CT5V Blackwing and the new electric lines. So we're hoping to accomplish getting all those. It's going to be a tight fit. So we're going to do a lot of work beforehand. I agree. The newest variants is the ones I like.
Do you like the CT5 or the CT4?
I like the CT5 a little bit better because you have a little bit more space. I totally get it. I drive a 435i X-Drive 6. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the 435 it's an awesome vehicle. Our neighbor actually sold one to another neighbor. Every BMW he gets, he sells it to literally the next door neighbor of him. So I always find it interesting because you're seeing that vehicle for another 2-3 years, and then he's getting a new BMW. With BMW, I like some of the direction that they're going, but some of it I dislike, especially with their interior specs. They're adding the recycled materials, which is good and it's bad. The good thing about it is obviously we're not adding plastics, but the bad thing is we're paying a premium. We're not getting a discount. I don't want to pay in tax. Yeah. Now the big scare is the increase of the tariffs, and like Audi, I actually talked to them 2 weeks in a row, as well as Lamborghini, and all of them are really discouraged right now with the tariff idea that's going to be going into place because they said, I mean, they're right now Audi isn't selling vehicles hardly at all. They're in a huge decline. I did the new Q3, which is literally like a baby Q5, but it's kind of pricey. I mean, it's almost 50 grand. I had the black optic package, which is new this year, so definitely check out the review. We haven't finished the edits yet. But if you're looking for some performance vehicles with styling, Audi is kind of the way to go. 2025.5 is going to be some variants, like I said, for the A5, S5, RS5. So I'm hoping to see this trickle in. Hopefully you can get the Blackwing with the performance back. Yes, we are hoping they have one of each, and we're scheduled to do the electric Escalade as well as their other electric variant. So I was hoping to put them side by side and do a comparison between the two. And if they're okay with it, since Issa is now fully insured, maybe we could do a test with the race. Usually they don't like to do that. So with the RS7 performance, though, that I did this week, there was an AMG 53 that ended up going in my test area. So I got to race it side by side. So that's going to be cool whenever we bring that to the channel. And otherwise, Mercedes isn't really doing too much extra except for saying how they're now changing. So like the AMG C43 is getting their V8 engine back. So I'm really happy to see that. Audi pre-owned is so bad right now too. Prices are so low. Yeah, I mean, if you're really wanting to get a deal, I would suggest looking at Audi, even if you have, maybe you haven't considered it. They do have some very nice vehicles and the performance is awesome and you can really get a deal. The disadvantage to it is they are getting a lot of updates, and I'm really more excited to see the Q9 because you're finally getting some leg room for the third row, and it's about time. And it's literally off the Q7 platform, so I don't understand why they didn't come out with it sooner. BMW can be what is it? A little too adventurous with tech. Porsche is one brand I've wanted to try.
Yeah,
Also
they're adding
see-
way too much tech.
Yeah, BMW is going all tech and like a lot of plastic in the interior. They're keeping the sport drive alive, so I appreciate
I feel the
that.
quality lowered.
Yeah, the
Degraded.
interior quality, especially on certain variants. The Escalade V, I don't know if they have it right now because they're getting all their electric line in. If they do have it, I will bring it to the channel though. Otherwise, I'll go to the other Cadillac team in maybe a couple weeks because this week we're going Cadillac and Honda. We're going to be bringing the new Passport. So I'm really excited to see that because they finally have that style, the off-roadiness. They finally did the fixes that, at least on paper, that's why I want to see how it looks in person. And then the following, we may go back to Acura, which we posted the Integra Type S. There was some positives and negatives, obviously, that came through a lot of the comments. And I feel that they just priced it wrong because, like I said in the review of the Integra Type S, they just kind of give you a touch of what they can do. They don't give you the full capabilities, and I feel that's where Acura kind of is a letdown. Infiniti did the same thing. Nissan's been doing the same thing. All the brands, Toyota now only doing hybrid. I mean, it's just changing the ball game for vehicles that we look forward to seeing performance because we obviously know Audi, Mercedes, BMW does it. But even Genesis has been stepping up their game, giving some more performance. And we're going to be going back to our new dealership to bring some more reviews also. I believe we have the third row coming out in the next week. So check that one out. It's pretty cool. We did the comparison between the electric Grecale and the gas variant Grecale this week. Hopefully we could do the same thing with the Macan, have two side by side. We're trying to get some more of their premium vehicles, so that's why we haven't been going to them as often because they've been getting a lot of base vehicles. And I guess the biggest news really is the TRX because that was just released, I think, yesterday.
TRX.
Yeah, the TRX coming back. But, I mean, unfortunately...
What's the other one called? The one with the V6?
Which one?
Didn't they have another version, the replacement over the TRX?
No, they didn't have a replacement. They just discontinued it because of emissions.
Wait, what was it?
The TRX?
The other one. They had two trucks.
Oh, the Ram. The Ram is going to be getting the Hemi for 2026. It's more or less confirmed. I'm assuming it's going to be probably like the first, not like the first batch of the 2026, but maybe the second batch. So probably towards February, maybe January, February time, you'll start seeing the Hemis coming back for the Ram. We do have a couple of the twin turbo Rams out there. Power is good. It's just not the same as the Hemi. And ultimately, when you get a Ram, that's really why you buy a Ram. I just, obviously for emissions, they had to do what they had to do. But Subscribe for a first car. For any car, BMW has been amazing for my entire family. Yeah, I mean, my brother has the X5 M50. He got it right before the M60 came out. You as well. Take care, Edward. Thank you very much. And he loves his vehicle. He doesn't like the cornering of it, and I said that's just because he doesn't know how to drive the vehicle. I told him I would take him where I test the BMWs, and he has declined multiple times. And it's funny because I even took BMW corporate. I did a i5 M50 with them, and they were like, we're glad you got insurance for this. And I said, dude, like, your cars are meant to take these turns. I don't understand why you don't show this a little bit more. So even when we went to a BMW track event, I did the same thing. I was with an F1 racer, and they were like, yeah, that's the way you're supposed to drive these vehicles. But unfortunately, with the i5, if you're doing performance to that level, it is a battery. You will start diminishing the range and the usage of that battery. So you have to kind of gauge your driving similar to like a cell phone. You can't charge it all the time, or you can't just continuously burn it out where you're using something that's using a lot of power and then not kind of monitoring it because it does destroy the battery. Hello, how are you today? What other news do we have? Recalls, they're still doing the same thing with the recalls. Nothing really updated there. Anthony, have you heard anything about Genesis finally launching their Magna vehicle? Not yet. We will be going to Genesis, not this week, but the following week. So I'm going to be picking their brain to see what's going on. Overall, Genesis it has been doing a lot of reamp to their vehicles. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen that. And I mean, even adding the what is it? The 48 volt system, which they're using it as a like a electric supercharger, similar to what Audi does in like the SQ7s and the SQ8s, and also the RSQ8 and RSQ7s and all their vehicles. But the difference here is you're getting it in Genesis. But then on the same aspect, you're paying about 80 grand. So I think the pricing is still a little far-fetched. But if you do go into their new dealerships, you will not think that. So that is one thing that's why I went to a new dealership to get it, and they're reamping all their dealerships. So if you go to a Genesis Hyundai dealer, you're going to notice that they're not going to have that many on their lot because they're changing the configuration. No real update with Nissan news either. Sadly, they haven't done anything really with partnerships. Eli Musk, that was a decline. Eli said that he wanted to stay with his brand. He doesn't want to do any ventures with Nissan at this moment. Genesis is a very underrated brand. It is. Every time I do Genesis, I think that they're going a direction that other auto industries are not touching bases with, which is awesome because they're not adding a lot of plastics. They're adding some premium materials. You're still getting the screen configuration that everybody kind of likes, and you still get buttons or a touchpad, which is awesome because I'm kind of tired of just getting a vehicle with screens. I'm not buying a vehicle for TV screens. I'm buying it, especially when I start going into like performance luxury. I want that. And yeah, I need a screen for my Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or my navigation and sound system. But I don't need 3-4 screens. Porsche and them, they're starting to just go crazy with it. Screens all over the place on the passenger side. It kind of takes away from the vehicle in my perspective. And ultimately, it also feels a little bit cheaper because you're just putting screens everywhere. I mean, let us know what you think about that. As for Kia, they're doing the same thing, a lot of updates, and Hyundai as well. I just think the whole line, Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis, they're doing a lot of things that's making it a little bit better and bringing people to the brand opposed to Toyota, Honda. Mazda also has been up in their game quite a bit. We have the new CX-50 hybrid on there, and I believe we have a comparison coming out as well. I'm getting a GV80 to replace my QX60. Yeah, the GV80, I have the third row, I believe, like I said, this week it's coming out. The only disadvantage to the third row is you can only get it on 2 trims. That was the only thing that kind of discouraged me with the QX60, which is replacing my 23 Palisade S. Yeah, in the Palisade, that is something I was a little bit discouraged with we're getting a Turbo 4 now for the refresh. The styling's awesome, the technology's awesome, but then they dropped the V6 engine. So I'm going to be excited to see how the performance is because, again, like I'm sure you guys have seen the Buick that we released yesterday. It's a 4-cylinder engine. It doesn't necessarily have the power that the V6 has. These vehicles are heavy. So when you're putting these smaller turbocharged engines, there's a TikTok video I showed my son. They said a turbocharged 4 and the guy's like riding a mule and the mule just takes off all of a sudden. It's basically what happens. It's a funny little video. I'll see if I could drop it somehow on the live stream like somewhere so you guys can see it because it's kind of hilarious. Yeah, and even the QX60. I mean, one thing also that's discouraging to me is even if you were to find a 2024 model QX60, they have cylinder management. So it also drives different than the prior refresh, which I forget. I don't think I neglected to put it on the review. I'm pretty sure I did. And ultimately, the drive to a 22 and up with the V6 drives a lot different than a 20 and under because of that cylinder management. The new Ram, for example, has more power with the V6. Yeah, they have to have more power, but even with the more power, it doesn't necessarily calculate to the same performance drive. Now, with the torque, yes, you're going to go back because it's more torque, but then you'll have the turbo lag, plus you have to add the more power because the vehicle's heavy already. So my concerns to these turbocharged 6 cylinders with heavier vehicles is the longevity. That's always the issue. You have to hit a higher RPM anyways to clean out the carbon. And in some cases, like with our personal vehicle, it's a GDI, which means that the spark plugs are directly shooting the fuel in the engine. So if you don't hit a higher RPM, you're literally getting those composites in the pistons, and it's going to destroy your engine long term. So you're not going to get much more than 100-ish thousand miles. And most people change their vehicles. But when you start paying higher premiums, like the average vehicle now, especially if you look at Audi, we were discussing this is like near 60 grand now. $60,000 is not cheap, but that's what they consider cheap. And that is crazy when you're thinking about these smaller engines, especially if you go to like an A5 and then maybe you don't drive it too hard here and there and you start getting the composite buildup. Well, you may not reach much more than 100,000 miles. You might start having engine leaks. You might have a piston that just fails. A lot of issues can happen. Yeah, the RS lines, they do a great job. I mean, it's more or less a detuned Lamborghini engine. You're not going to lose there. It's awesome. But I would rather get a BMW for luxury. Yeah, BMW, I feel, I like the RS, especially the RS Q8. We were considering one, and 3 of the teams that I work with, actually one team I don't work with, they were saying they're going to add a $10,000 premium. I literally just walked away. And they said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing what anyone should do. And my new team said they do not add premiums, but they don't really like discount the vehicle. And the issue with it is it's kind of a sleeper. And at those prices, you can get a Urus for maybe 20 grand more pre-owned. And if you want to wait 9 months, you could potentially get a new one, but it would be the hybrid variant, unfortunately. 9 months waiting list on that. BMWs are good with the X3, X5 are good, but the X7 is bad. I mean, the X5s are good. The X3 is good with the performance. Some of the interior aesthetics, I feel that they could have changed it a little bit to make it look a little bit more in their higher end pricing. The X7, I think they did a good job with it. It's just some of the interior components like the power adjustment for the seats, they moved really slow. Performance-wise is awesome. I mean, when you're considering a near 3-ton vehicle getting 0 to 60s around 4 seconds, that's crazy. The best full size is the QX80 or the Navigator. QX80, they did a great job with it. You even saw that. The new Infiniti,
Yeah,
awesome.
but it's like 100 grand.
Yeah,
You can't.
it's just priced way too high if you go autograph.
You can't go 100 grand on an Infiniti.
Yeah, and right now with Infiniti's situation, they're actually doing some of the better interest rates if you are looking to get a premium vehicle, but they're dropping the QX50, the QX55, so they're literally only going to have the QX60 and QX80 for now, and I'm assuming that's also going to help with this issue they're doing financially, but they're also trying to bring 5 electric variants to the Infinity line, which I don't see that happening for 2026 anytime fast. They'll probably be badged towards the end. Maybe 1 or 2 will come out. Escalade is nice, but I like massage rear seats, but it's nearly impossible to find it with it. Yeah, that ultimately any vehicle on the lot, that was actually what I was complaining with to the 3 dealerships that I went to this week. We went to BMW, Audi, and several Audi dealers, and who else was it? We went to someone else. It'll come to me. I'm fasting, so sometimes I'll forget things. But when I went to the Maserati, and when we went to them, ultimately they're all ordering base vehicles so they can sell them. So when you go to the dealership, maybe Google if you are looking to purchase a new vehicle, because they have a lot of base variants out there. So you get the discount. You're going to have the depreciation, plus it's a base variant, so you're going to lose probably another 5-ish%. So ultimately, where you're at, you're losing, I would say, 40 to 50% taking it off the lot if you're getting a base variant vehicle, especially if they're giving you anywhere of 10, 20, 30, and some cars are literally going $100,000. Even Bentley now is doing $100,000 off of their new variants. So it's crazy some of the deals that are actually coming out towards the end of this quarter. Lincoln has a horrible resale. Yeah, well, Lincoln and Cadillac is in that premium luxury line. They're not 100% there with BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Even though they depreciate high also, I feel Lincoln and Cadillac, they just increased their price a little too high too quickly. Whereas BMW has been kind of doing it through the years, the same thing with Audi and Mercedes, but now they're starting to realize that they have kind of outclassed almost everybody, because in some cases, people end up looking at a Mini instead of a BMW now. One question, I believe, I don't know if it was, I think it was Sean, he was asking about the Acura Integra. What is your thoughts about the Type S?
The Type S compared to what, the Type R?
No, just in general. How do you feel about that vehicle?
It's all right. I think it's a little overpriced. It's like 50 grand, right? It's 50,000?
It touches near 60 almost.
60, you could buy an M340i or used M3.
Yeah.
I would get a used M3.
Yeah.
If it was like 30, 40,000, then I would consider it. Get pretty decent power, has pretty nice interior, but $50,000-$60,000 is a little much.
The new Toyota Camry hybrid, all of their vehicles are hybrid. I like them. I typically tell people when something's new, wait 1 year. But with this, it's not too many changes. It is something to cross-shop with the new ES, because Lexus is basically going to have something similar to it. But then I'm skeptical to see the price increase, because like the ES, you could get an ES right now for literally a price of a Toyota. So that's why I'm saying you might want to look at those. Maybe even pick up a 25 variant. You might be a little bit happier because you're going to get a lot more with service, and you'll get some concierge service as well as, the loaner program where they do valet service. You're not going to get those things with Toyota. So something to just kind of cross-shop with that. Hybrid reserve, 72,550. Yeah, exactly. That's so the you're talking about the new Lincoln, the hybrids priced at $72,000, you said? My gosh. And literally they depreciate like almost 20, 30 grand right off the bat. And trade value is not that good either. So you may want to try to keep that vehicle just a little bit more so. I owned a 25 hybrid and it is an excellent car. No, they are. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying that the ES for Lexus, it's more upscale and you just get a little bit more. So that's the only reason why I suggest that, because if you don't want to go to the dealership, they'll pick your vehicle up and drop you a loaner. You don't get those same services with Toyota. I've heard that many sales are dead, completely dead. And that BMW may consider letting Mini go. These are all talks at the moment, but like at my Mini dealership, they have maybe almost 200 variants. no JCWs, which is so disappointing because that's the vehicle people do want. Because even with the new changes implemented, it's still actually a relatively good car opposed to what they've done with this new modern twist, which is fine, but it's literally taken everything away from the Mini design. Is nice tech wise. Before is the features black. Yeah, when you go Lincoln, you almost have to get a black label in order to get resale value. And the black label perks, they're pretty good. You get a detail clean once a year. You have your own private lounge. They do, Lincoln itself already does where they'll pick up your vehicle and drop you a loaner, the valet service, but they just kind of further that. They also have some different paint options when you get into the black label. I would suggest going that route because even with the depreciation, you will have a lot better resale to it. The tech isn't bad. I'm just not really excited with the way Lincoln or Ford has went with the Lincoln line. They still look like polished off Fords. And I want it to look a little bit different. GMC kind of does the same thing because the Tahoe literally has the same suspension as a Cadillac, and you're paying $20-ish thousand more. Granted, the interior is a little different, but there's a lot of similarities still. If I had to choose luxury-wise versus X5, then I would choose... Oh, so you choose the Lincoln. Okay. We had a Lincoln. We had it for quite a while. We had an LS. It was a nice sporty vehicle. It was more their luxury sport car. But ultimately, we traded that in for Infiniti, and we've been with Infiniti for 3 times, which the update, unfortunately, there hasn't been any. Infiniti did give us the buyback or repurchase, so we're probably going to be doing the repurchase, which we'll be getting a 25, but we're not going to put a lot of miles on it because we're going to trade it relatively quick because I'm not so excited about the VC turbocharged 4-cylinder that they put in the new QX60. My friend had a 2018 QX60 and he said that the new one has terrible ride quality. I don't know. I mean, I feel we have 22-inch wheels. We changed them, so our ride quality is going to be a lot different. When we get the loaners, they drive a lot more smooth. 22-inch wheels, it's not going to be a comfortable ride at all. The suspension itself is going to be more of a sporty suspension. I feel Acura will be a little bit more smooth driving. And at the pricing of Infinitis now, you're especially going autograph, you're in the high 60s to $70,000. I looked at mine. We ended up purchasing it near $70,000. You're almost at Type S money. The only disadvantage with the Type S is I feel that once you're getting into the $80,000 price, probably better you start looking at BMW, Mercedes, and Audi because you're going to get more performance out of your money. But in the same category, the Type S is awesome. I would consider doing like an MDX pre-owned though, because the depreciation is going to be really high considering they priced it high. And ultimately right now at the dealerships, I think they maybe have like the MDX, they usually have 2 or 3. The Integra, I've been seeing 2 or 3, so they are starting to come onto the lot. And if you're even considering Honda and Toyota, they're getting kind of a surplus of vehicles, especially with the new Tacoma and Tundra. A lot of people are concerned about the Tundra. Toyota is fixing the problems with the engine. But with the longevity, I mean, that's still kind of up in the air because you're fixing it now, and maybe 2 years down the road, we'll really see what's going on. His dad traded for a 25 X5, X-Drive, all the features, and MDX Advance. The MDX Advance is good. I usually recommend getting the what is it? Oh man, this fasting sometimes gets me. The A-Spec. I recommend usually getting the A-Spec so you get the sporty style, you get the Milano leather seats, you can get the ventilated, heated front seats, massage seats, heads-up display, you get the upgraded sound system. They just do a lot when you go into the A-Specs. Plus on the exterior, you get that sporty design, which Infiniti actually for 26, yes, for 26, the QX60 is going to have a sport variant, exterior and interior styling. We don't have any word of what it's going to look like. and we don't have any word if they're going to do like a Red Sport 400. I would love to see that, but I don't actually see that coming. The only thing that they were really stressing was styling, aesthetics, which they're going to be changing the bumper, the wheels, and some interior to make it look more sporty. Hopefully they'll add some carbon fiber. I mean, at 70 grand, carbon fiber should be an option, not just wood. In my opinion, the best midsize SUV, GV80 and GLE. GV80, like I said earlier, they are doing an excellent job. Genesis is really giving a lot, but the price, if you start getting some of their higher end tiers, you're near $80,000. The GLE is good styling wise, but on paper and driving it, it's not necessarily the best in performance numbers. In pricing, it's going to be more money than Audi and BMW. I think Genesis, if they would drop their price about 10 grand, they would by far be almost number one in my category. BMW and Audi is doing a lot of changes. So those changes, even with technology, because they're using the old MMI technology, which is literally like nearly 2000, actually be under 2020, I would say 2018, maybe 2017. 2018, I believe, is the cutoff on the MMI to get the new upgraded technology. And the new technology that's coming out, that's going to probably, I mean, it's a lot faster. Unfortunately, none of the vehicles we have to show have it, because it's going to be more in the 2025.5 or 2026 models, which is going to be June, July, and probably December time. So look for them on the channel. But the technology is awesome. I played with it. It's a lot faster. It's, I would say, just as good as BMW, if not better. But BMW goes a step further with the screen in the back, giving that 30-inch or 30-plus inch screen that's touch screen, and you can actually make it 3 touch screens. And the reason why I say this is because Audi's technology, they have the TVs, but if you use headphones, you can't use the headphones for the other passenger. They only have it linked for one passenger. So if you're using the headphones, you have to listen to it through the sound system too, because they don't have it channeled right. So Audi has the upgraded technology, but they're not paying the extra money to get it fixed. New Escalades have the best screen, in my opinion, 55-inch. Yeah, Escalade did a great job with it. I just, again, with the screen layout, I like that they're doing, so like on the QX80, you have a touch screen still just like a Cadillac on the left side, plus you have the center touch screen. So I think that's awesome. I actually would like to see a touch screen for the gauge cluster, not to eliminate buttons on the steering wheel, but just so that way you could kind of swipe your screen really quickly. Because if you're driving and you're doing a swipe, you don't have to even look. So I think that would be a cool option, but again, the auto industry doesn't really listen to us. Well, this week we are going to conclude for the live streams. Check out the memberships. I was not able to get a lot of the stuff fixed. I know Sean was asking about it for the membership for the second package. What I have been doing is giving the shorts and most of the perks that was on the second package on the smaller package for the memberships. So you can get that. I believe it's like $9 or $10 a month. And you'll get to see shorts 2 times a week. And then we also do some rough cuts. We don't have a lot of rough cuts because I don't actually have a lot of rough cuts that I do. I try to really know what I'm doing. You should maybe start a Discord server. That is something I actually talked to my YouTube partner with. We're going to try to implement something like that, so that way when we do the live streams, we can have conversations back to back, and exactly for the interactions. Take care, everybody. I really appreciate you guys coming out and look forward to seeing you guys on the next review. Have an excellent weekend. It just doesn't like to end.